This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. Don't forget, language for lovers. That's right. We're going to be diving into this today with the one, the only, Vera joining us here, who guiding couples from conflict to connection for so many years. So we're excited to have him back here on today's show to talk more about, well, communication, right? Because you say couples don't lack love. They actually lack the tools to communicate safely and effectively, we should say. So today we're going to break down some of those core principles. We're going to get to know you. And thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I am ecstatically happy to be here at the first of 10 sessions, which I can use to share the first class I made in nonviolent communication. I was on a team of people who brought the creator of nonviolent communication, commonly known as NVC, and at one point I told him I wanted to create a course for couples, and he recommended a book to me, and that book became the foundation. But now there's a lot of branches on that tree of language for lovers. Let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Sure.
Well, I have had a life filled with challenges. I was born John McLean Chamberlain IV into a military family. I moved 15 times before the age of 18, living in various different places, including Texas, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Germany, and Ireland. And this taught me about the diversity of the human experience, and to never assume that I understood what another person was experiencing without truly trying to understand their perspective. So these experiences have really uniquely contributed to my NVC coach, trainer, facilitator work. And by the way, I was the IT person for the Center for Nonviolent Communication for 10 years. So that put me in touch with NVC trainers all around the world, which led to me to get up around 5:30 in the morning so I can talk to people on the other side of the globe, going to bed around 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I loved it, but it turned out to be troublesome because I'm such a competitive guy, the 12th stage of the 12 stages of burnout syndrome. So more about that later, maybe. So going back to my childhood, I've always been empathic and committed to facilitating meaningful connections. My baby sister, I have 3, can recall her early memories watching me empathizing with and advising my childhood friends and neighbors. I've also gone through several deeply satisfying yet challenging love relationships and experienced both periods of chronic anxiety and depression. However, the tools I gained through NVC facilitated a transformation in my life and allowed me to live fully, joyfully, and with energy. So, a little bit more about my experience with NVC. I studied closely with Marshall Rosenberg, the creator of NVC. I was on a committee that brought him to Seattle twice a year. And I just really loved the man. He's so genuine and so real and so compassionate. So I attended over 400 hours of his trainings and became a Peacenik certified NVC trainer in 2004. And that was the year that I created Language for Lovers. I'm also an advanced trainer in neuro-linguistic programming, active listening, and through the years, I've incorporated NVC practices in my life and used the transformation I helped experience to help others. So there's a little bit more, but I'll save that for later. So that's who I am, and
Wonderful.
that's why I do what I, yeah.
Love it. And I know today you wanted to share some insights. We are going to break down specifically some of the core relationship principles. We're going to talk about navigating these challenges and so much more. And at any time that you want to share your screen to share some of your videos, of course, you're always welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I remember when I first was invited to meet Marshall Rosenberg. And at the time, I was a traveling IT person. I went to New York City, I went to Guam, I went all over the world, all over the country. And I had a very good excuse, I mean, reason not to go see him.
Yeah.
But eventually, I grew sick of being on the road, even though I had an unlimited expense account. I missed my family. So I resigned and I started a company called iCommerce Solutions,
Mm-hmm.
which allowed back in the days of modems. And I don't know if there are any people as old as I am who heard this.
Yep.
That was what it took to connect to the internet. Um, so, so there I was in Seattle and staying at home. Got invited to meet Marshall. I had a plan. I would go down to the Seattle Arboretum early, get the chair closest to the exit door, make sure Patty saw me when she came in,
Mm-hmm.
and during the first break, back to the office. This is how long I was able to stick to that plan. In 5 minutes, Marshall explained a way to have inner and outer peace more powerful than anything I had ever discovered.
Wow.
I was in a boarding school in Ireland, and one day I got a call to come up to talk to the head honchos. And they said, Kennedy's initiated a barricade for Cuba. What's he going to do? That tells you about the Irish people.
Yeah, right?
Of course, yeah. So I knew that about 4 miles from my house, an atomic missile had been raised out of the ground and was sitting fueled and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So peace is very poisonal to me. So there's some more about my background.
Wow.
So let me explain a little bit about what this is. Marshall Rosenberg was a most successful therapist or psychologist in Chicago, and he loved doing the work until medical insurance came in and he couldn't get paid unless he diagnosed somebody. And he
Yeah.
had discovered that telling somebody what their diagnosis was would lead to things like, oh, well, I looked it up and I always thought I really liked so and so, but I guess I don't. So he quit
Oh,
and he started traveling around with his powerful language. So the the idea of nonviolence
yeah.
goes way beyond uh, not being angry and mean and all that other kind of stuff. Anything that makes other people uncomfortable is violence. So we come home and we're frustrated, and our partner hasn't done something that they said they were going to do, and we tell them what lazy rats they are.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And then we wonder why they're not talking to us that night. You
Mm-hmm.
know? We don't even know that criticizing, analyzing, diagnosing destroys connection. So, so I jumped into this and I started doing it with other people. And sometimes it really worked great,
Mm-hmm.
and other times it didn't work at all. And it took me a while to realize
Yeah.
that I was not in touch with my emotions.
No.
My father told me that emotions were the leftover of our ancestral past, like pre-human, and soon we wouldn't have those anymore, and everything would be better. So I completely ignored my emotions, and as a consequence, they ran my life. What Marshall discovered is that our emotions are a calling signal, letting us know that we're experiencing things that are not supporting our life,
Yeah.
are letting us know to celebrate things that are. So, uh, in the steps of nonviolent communication, the first thing you do is you make an observation.
Okay.
That guy is a jerk is not an observation, it's an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yes, it is. Correct.
That guy started talking while I was talking. That's an observation. So immediately I'm connecting with the other person. They're talking for a reason. And so I can say, I have a need to be heard and understood. That's a universal need. And so I don't have to explain the need for being heard and understood. Obviously, the guy was trying to fulfill his need when he
Yeah.
interrupted my presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've got the experience and we've got the emotion and we got the need, then we go to requests. And
Mm.
oftentimes in my trainings, when I would say, now we're going to talk about requests, and somebody, usually a man, says, oh, good, now I'm going to know how to get what I want. And we say, well, not really. It's a little different. A request is designed to discover what the other person's needs are, to express what our needs are, and to begin to talk about how we can meet both of those needs, both of those person's needs. So that's it. 4 simple steps. If you're using more than 30 words, it's too many.
Yeah.
You're explaining who you are. The point's not to explain to you are. The point is to share what you want in your life. And the more you talk about and define what it is that you see going on, the less connection you're going to have with the other person.
Yeah.
Because guess what? They're not you. They
Mm-mm.
have their own life, their own experiences, their own points of view. So that's the magic. And I really want to talk about language for lovers, but I can sit here and talk about my favorite experiences with
I know.
MVC
I know.
for
I know.
hours.
All right. All right. So where
Okay.
do we want to start with language for lovers? Go ahead.
Communication and nonviolence.
Yeah.
What that is, it's living in a nonviolent life, encompassing interactions with others and internal thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Effective communication relies on clarity,
Mm-hmm.
empathy, and the ability to express needs while respecting a partner's perspective. We also want to take 100% responsibility
Mm.
for absolutely everything that happens
Of
in our
course.
life.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I was an expert at telling people what they were doing wrong. And I wondered why my friends weren't so friendly. We take
Exactly.
full responsibility for
Guilty.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, your ability to connect with someone in so few words uh, allows you to clarify who did what, when, and why. Self responsibilities, especially in terms of intimate relationships. We want, need, and value boundaries. Cultivating flexible, functional boundaries to fulfill our childhood needs instead of, oh, I'm sorry, uh, it's essential for safety, closeness, preventing both emotional waiting off and inappropriate behavior. So if there's something that somebody does, I had someone just the other day who was using a behavior of belittling and making humor.
Wow.
The partner was not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
So we agreed. First of all, we found out why he did that. He
Okay.
does that when he's uncomfortable. And that is a huge piece of information for his partner to know and understand. So by having, so you made a request. When
Yeah.
you're uncomfortable, instead of making a joke, could you just say, I'm feeling uncomfortable?
That would be the right thing to do. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other principle is to repair disconnection. Relationships naturally involve cycles of harmony and disharmony. So when conflict arises, Partners can engage in a restructured repair process
Mm-hmm.
to return to closeness. And we spend a lot of time working with couples for that particular issue. Because as one marriage counselor said, couples don't have problems,
Mm-hmm.
couples are problems.
Ah.
By which I believe he means to say, when we first fall in love with someone and we're flooded with all these hormones,
Mm-hmm.
we think we found somebody who's going to be the perfect partner. But our soul had a different idea. We found the person who's going to irritate us the most in the way we need to grow. And believe me, if you're open to it, that is the route to unconditional love. So there's a lot more in all of this. I could keep going in this area, or I could talk about some other things. What do you think, Jill? What do you
Well,
think they want out
I just
there?
want to make sure we our timing. We have like 18 minutes. I know you still want to show some videos as well, so I just want to make sure we're covering everything. And then, we got to talk more about navigating those challenges. A lot of us have past patterns,
Yeah,
triggers.
yeah.
So I
Okay.
just want to make sure we're on schedule for sure. But let's continue to talk, and obviously how these principles of communication really, as you mentioned, can help people. And how many core relationship principles are there specifically?
Well, those are the core ones. What comes next? Um, well, let's see. Are navigating challenges,
Yes. Okay.
which is a huge part of a successful
Mm-hmm.
uh, intimate relationship. The next area is how we foster growth. We have daily practice, mutual support, relationship skills, and then we get deep into the aspects of nonviolent communication, including things like empathy and understanding, eliminating blame, boundaries, direct expressions, things of that nature.
Okay.
Okay. So, what I'd like to do now is I'm going to bring up, while I'm talking about it,
Perfect.
where I'm going to get this. I'm bringing up a video
Perfect.
that I made after I was attending one of these, you know, 16 people over 5 days sharing their uh, expertise and whatnot. And okay, it's and this person enters the chat and says, "I've been doing what Pan recommended I do 10 years ago, and it's always worked with our relationship." So I'm going to share screen
Perfect.
and share this. Share. And I may not play this all the way to the end,
Okay, go
but
ahead.
we'll do a certain amount of it.
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Are here tonight and talking about what you experienced. And I wonder if you could just tell me what your experience was in the training, and then I'll ask you how it's played out since you've had the training.
Sure. I think it was really helpful to have the tools, the needs and the feelings, and just to have those tools whenever we have conflict or confrontation. It's just another kind of thing in the tool belt to go to when you're
Right. How about you, Steve?
Well, I think I keep coming back to the islands. The islands of this is what my current needs and wants, and now sometimes we're on the same island, sometimes we're on different islands. That's a helpful little metaphor. It's a little tool that I use quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're aware of which island you're on and they're on, that's good to connect.
Yeah.
Was there anything about the class you particularly liked?
For me, I think it was just kind of learning to connect with Steve and learning to understand his needs versus my needs, and we're so different.
Yes, we are all different from each other. We're all unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then learning that what his needs were, was it so just extremely helpful to me. And I try and come back to that, especially when there is conflict, to understand him.
Okay.
Go ahead, Stu.
I thought that
Beautiful.
that you
All
Yeah.
right. Wow.
Yeah. That was 10
Great
years after
testimonial. Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, okay. Where do you want to go from here? Let me
By the way,
see.
so how long have those two been together for?
It says later in their show, I think they're on 18th year when they made that.
Amazing, amazing. All right. Well, we
Yeah.
had here after we were talking about navigating these challenges, fostering growth, and those amazing principles that we sometimes lack, whether it's empathy or understanding. But it's very important to learn that because it's going to enhance our communication.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So, what I want to talk about now is many years ago, I think in 22 or something like that, I was studying the work of a marriage counselor, and he had the new rules of relationship. And every rule that he had was a description of what you should not do. And I find it very difficult to do a not.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a free gift, which we'll make available to you in post production, of many different ways that people can uh, can experience the do's instead of the not do's. So I'm going to share my screen again. There we go. Share. So this is something that I put together by taking his don't and turning it into a do. And there are 78 of these suggestions. And people have found, first of all, it's more fun to look at these beautiful
Mm-hmm.
pictures than it is to read through a lot of text. And we're going to try to arrange for you guys to get a link to this, and and then you can download this. And if you if you have, it's quite expensive to print, as you can imagine, with all
Yes.
the color. But it's a really powerful tool that and not based on my opinion, though it is my opinion too, that this was really helpful for them, especially when they got into difficulties.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. Okay. Um, Go ahead, Jill.
No, I know we have like 5 minutes left, right? But I know we also have a free guide we're going to talk about. We're going to give people information on that too, and of course how you can reach out to us. We can reach out to you and get the help we need. So, do you want to kind of run down the rest of our notes here today?
Um, Not too much, really. I just want to make sure that people know that in order to access this wonderful tool, I'm going to ask you to give me your name and your email and a little description of what's going on in your relationship. And then I will send you some more emails after you receive those so that you can kind of consider over time whether or not you want to reach out for help
Yeah.
with your relationship. And I have had one couple in the years since 2004 that didn't achieve the dynamics of the course, which are to arrive at unconditional love. To be in that place where it used to irritate the heck out of you,
Hmm.
you now find it a cute foible for them. And I've been divorced 4 times. It's very expensive. It was a zero reset financially each time. So it's worth putting some effort into falling back in love with the person you fell in love with before. Just clearing all of the difficulties away by embracing a new point of view about them
Mm-hmm.
and entering into mutual support, respond with empathy, with love, with caring. And I'm just overwhelmed with how powerful and beautiful it is.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I'm so glad we're here sharing all of this and to let people know how you could be of service because communication is key, they say. But can we all at any age learn the proper communication skills?
Well, in my experience, especially when it comes to couples, but I also have done lots of work with big
Mm-hmm.
organizations. And yes, we can, because our communication skills that are violent are based on the pain within us.
Okay.
And if we can come and see that pain in a new light, then we can gladly give up our analysis, diagnosis, criticism, blaming, shaming. Those things are not fun, and they rarely accomplish anything we want. So, yes, Jill,
Oh,
I had
wonderful.
one
Thank you.
man who couldn't get out of it.
Ah, all right. Well,
Yeah.
to wrap things up in our last few minutes, how did you want to kind of leave off with everyone?
Well, there are going to be 9 more of these sessions. And in my opinion, listening to what I've been saying is kind of boring. So, what I would like in our next 9 sessions is to have this a call in show and invite couples to come in and receive the education and training and coaching. This takes a lot of coaching and learn how to express what's really important to them based on live experience. And if you're shy and think, gee, do I really want to do that? Let me tell you this. If you can come on and you can be honest and you can share what's really going on with you, both the good stuff and especially the difficult stuff, your situation is not unique. You're going to be able to help many, many, many other couples find a way to true love,
Oh,
unconditional love.
wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And how can we get the free guide? I want to hear more about this and, of course, how we can reach out to you.
Okay, so I will send you the links and you can send the links. Is that what we talked about a little while ago?
Yep. If you
Or
could, Vaughn, just tell us, though, for now, how we can contact you, and then we'll put that up at the end as well when we make the video. Thank you.
okay, all right. So the Language for Lovers website is a good place to start.
Okay.
And there's another link, languageforlovers.com/free guide. And that will give you the guide that we just watched.
Oh,
And you will get a series of emails after you sign up for this to go into more depth about what would happen if you decide you want to work with me. And then you can decide with some
perfect.
sense of understanding. Yeah,
Looking
yeah.
forward to it. I hope they reach out. And of course, looking forward to our 10 show series. So we have more to come. This is just the beginning. We're scratching the surface here. And I'm glad that, we got to be back here again to talk more about Language for Lovers and so much. We're going to see some more great videos, I'm sure, in the future. And don't forget to pick up that free guide. Go to the website and we'll talk again next week. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Jill. It's so much fun to
Thank
be
you.
with you.
And if you ever want to bring on a live gas pan, you're more than welcome. Someone that you've worked with or whatever, you're more than welcome. We'll share the link. We bring them on and we can jazz it up a little that way too.
I would love to do that. And I
Yeah.
know the couple I'm going to ask to do it.
Beautiful. And also next week, we're going to take callers here live on the show. So don't forget about that. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week with more. Have a great day, Pan. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.